They say you're never really alone, but I never believed it until last week, when I dug up something strange in my backyard. I was planting tomatoes when my trowel hit plastic, an old disposable camera, muddy but intact, wedged deep in the earth. It looked decades old, and I was more curious than creeped out. I took it inside, cleaned it up, and, on a whim, drove to the one photo lab in town that still developed film. The tech behind the counter looked at me like I'd handed him a relic. I laughed, said it was probably all ruined anyway. But I couldn't shake the feeling that the camera didn't want to be found. A few days later, the lab called me to pick up the photos. There were only a dozen snapshots, all dated in the early 90s, birthday parties, a barbecue, a little girl grinning in a kiddie pool. But in the last few, I recognized my own backyard, though the garden beds weren't there yet. In one, a blurry figure stood in the background, half hidden behind a tree. In another, a group of people I didn't recognize gathered, facing the camera dead on, their eyes blacked out by shadow. In the final photo, a person, someone who looked eerily like me, stood with their back to the lens, oblivious to the crowd behind them. I stared at that last picture for hours, goosebumps crawling across my skin. The longer I looked, the more I noticed, the faces in the background weren't just strangers, they were familiar. My neighbor from across the street, a delivery guy I'd seen last week, even my own mother, though she looked much younger. None of them had any business being in a photo from decades ago. And the creepiest part? The way they all seemed to be reaching for the person in the foreground, reaching for me. That night, I left the photos in a drawer and tried to sleep. But as I lay in bed, I heard footsteps crunching in the backyard, low voices murmuring my name. I peeked through the blinds and saw shapes moving, just beyond the glow of the porch light. I realized, with a sick twist of fear, that the people in those photos weren't behind me yet, but maybe soon, they would be. And this time, there'd be no camera to prove they were ever there at all.